Welcome back to your latest industry recap. An airline tie-up has been announced, and Turkish Airlines is eyeing a new aircraft order. Turkish Airlines, well, they're continuing to near a landmark deal with American plane maker Boeing for new planes. However, a decision is being delayed further. The Turkish-based company has been focused on securing what it considers to be the second part of a mammoth new aircraft order to really solidify its place in the industry moving forward and align with some of its growth targets that it has put forward. The first part of this deal has already been announced, and that involved European plane maker Airbus. The second part has always been considered to be Boeing's for the taking, but it's faced complications, with this having more significant focus on some of your more delivery concerns and also maintenance contracts. According to comments from the airline CEO to Bloomberg last month, the contract is in the process of being finalized, with delivery schedules and more formalities in the works. Availability in securing these aircraft that it wants to order is a massive part of any deal. However, there's even more emphasis on what Turkish Airlines is placing because of just how important they're going to be and just how many planes are likely to be included. Furthermore, with how much delays have been a topic of conversation across the industry, and we know Boeing's inability to deliver planes on time, driven by its own internal and supply chain woes, well, it is a cause for concern. The deal is also very important to Boeing, which has struggled with brand image. Securing a contract with a company like Turkish Airlines for what is going to be a pretty hefty amount of aircraft would improve many commercial aircraft backlogs. However, there are warning signs, whether part of the airline's ongoing negotiation effort to try and secure better terms or not. There was interestingly mention that Airbus remains an alternative, so if an agreement cannot be reached with Boeing, which is pivotal for the American plane maker, there is another plane maker that lies in the waiting. That is Airbus, and that would be a pretty catastrophic loss for Boeing if all of Turkish Airlines' business went to the European plane maker. The CEO has not confirmed that's going to happen, and again, this could very much be a tactic, but it is worth mentioning. It's clearly frustrated at the situation that is unfolding and needs to keep a plan B, like anyone, but how often is a plan B actually necessarily publicly mentioned in an order process such as this? Not always. As for that order that I keep talking about in relation to Airbus, it occurred at the end of 2023. That should really show you the lengthy distance between that one and the Boeing one with all the complexities. The contract was signed at the Dubai Air Show, but was really just awaiting firm confirmation. It was signed before then. As part of the mission to expand its fleet, the airline announced it would acquire 150 of the A321neo planes, the best-selling plane at the plane maker. Meanwhile, the airline's commitment to the A350 series extended to 70 units spread across 3 variants and did include the addition of 5 of your upcoming A350Fs for their Turkish cargo division. Certainly exciting news. So what happens with this deal? That is truly the billion-dollar question. Is Boeing going to be able to wrap it up? Would Turkish Airlines just really putting forward tactics to try and get better terms and arrangements, or is there even a slim chance that they may head towards Airbus for the remainder of their deal? And over to the final story. Qatar Airways has seen its stake in Virgin Australia approved, following Australian regulators giving the all-clear. The Doha-based carrier had been seeking to expand into the Australian market for many years, but had its several attempts rejected as regulators frowned upon the impact of the deal. Some analysts consider the impact on Qantas a reason for Australia broadly rejecting Qatar's planned expansion, but this was called ridiculous by some. After Qatar Airways deemed it was not able to expand with its own aircraft on routine services, they knew they had to become a little bit more creative about how it would enter Australia further, and it went back to the drawing board. As a result, the company began looking towards well-established domestic carrier and also seen on international markets briefly, Virgin Australia, with Qatar believing it could take a minority stake in this company to obtain greater access to Australia. Now, 25% of Virgin Australia, which is owned by a US private equity firm, will be sold to the Doha-based company, and questions are being asked already about the impact that this will have on the industry and Australian flag carrier Qantas. Many do believe that this deal will positively impact the industry, notably increasing competition and driving airlines to offer better services and more affordable prices. After speaking with unions and other relevant parties, Australia actually determined as a country that Qatar Airways' proposals did remain in the best interest for Australia and would have positive repercussions rather than negative. At times, regulators can reject consolidation efforts, even if it is just a minority stake, for fear that the impact on airlines would be negative rather than positive. Virgin Australia also knows that the approval is an essential step in the right direction for themselves as a business, after they entered voluntary administration at the beginning of the pandemic and decade. Before the pandemic and the arrival of new backers, the airline offered international services with wide-body aircraft. However, these were cut as part of downsizing efforts that were undertaken. Looking ahead, the pair will work together to enhance international connectivity. These two airlines will benefit from the relationship, which will continue growing with time if it is successful and attains firm approval. The plan with all of these acquisition efforts is to really see Virgin Australia operate flights to Doha, utilising Qatar Airways' global network and aircraft to service more than 100 destinations. The plan is around 28 weekly services. That is tentative. It could go upwards, could go down. We are really awaiting the firm details there from Perth, Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, and it will be a major service upgrade therefore for Doha-based carrier Qatar, but it'll also benefit Virgin Australia passengers who will now have another option and increased connectivity. Let me know your thoughts on today's industry recap down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. Do take care, do be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.